For those of you who don't know me, my name is Christina Berner, and I am a second-year medical student here. Our president, Zach Wright, who's a classmate of mine, started a chapter here last year. What we do is our headquarters partners each chapter with an international partner, and ours is in the North Coast of Dominican Republic. And we're partners with a program called 7 Elements that works closely with Timmy Global Health. And they've got so many different projects that are amazing. They're doing a freshwater thing in a freshwater campaign in the Amazon basin, and they're doing malnutrition projects and all sorts of stuff. So we're partnering with them. We're going to go out to Dominican Republic. We're having a group go out this May, and we're really looking forward to that. One thing they've encouraged us to do as chapters is to focus on advocacy and really raising awareness for not only global health issues, but also local health issues. So that's what we decided to do the speaker series about, and each month we have a featured speaker, and kind of just focuses on not only issues globally, but here locally, because Indianapolis has a lot of high needs here as well. We actually are fundraising today for our partners in Dominican Republic. We're going to have a little jar in the back, so if you guys have any extra pocket change or anything, feel free to put it in there on your way out. And another positive is seeing so many leaders here today, and it really, really makes me happy to be able to welcome one of them today and introduce one of our biggest fans and leaders, President Elsner. Please join me in welcoming him.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good afternoon. We passed the morning. Thank you for being here. Whatever the cost of a piece of pizza, calculate in your mind, double it, use your imagination, double it again, and leave a donation. That's how we operate. I did ask a fellow here in the building one day, he said, well, what kind of a gift do you want from me? And that's where we come up with the idea, think of a gift, double it, use your imagination, and double it again. It worked out pretty well, so I always use that pitch. Thank you for being here. A little advertising. As we do these speaker series, I appreciate faculty and students being here. Dr. Atlas also does a global speaker series here on campus, usually in the theater. Dr. Atlas did the first one. We have Senator Lugar, Senator Donnelly, Dr. Lecklider, who's an organic chemist, PhD is what he did, organic chemistry. He's also the CEO of Eli Lilly. He'll be speaking. You might want to pay attention to those. I know you're very busy studying and all, but they kind of, and he's really speaking from the perspective of he's the chairman of the board of United Way International, in addition to being CEO of Lilly. So he's going to take a kind of international approach. So plug into those speaker series. Next weekend, well, this week we have a football game, but next week we have homecoming. Hope you can participate in that and enjoy it. So those are my little advertisements while I'm here with you. I get to talk to some of you individually from time to time. Appreciate your dedication to your studies. As I was talking to one student the other day, I don't want an average physician treating me, so keep studying hard. And I expect one of you to take care of me as I keep declining. Incline in age usually means a decline in health, and I'm going to need you. So be excellent, please. Thank you. Now, my deep pleasure, I've had an opportunity to tell you a little bit about Dr. Evans. By the way, interestingly, in this building, I don't know what the mathematical odds are, but there's 3 Dr. Evans in the house today. And your name, Dr. Evans? Yes. I don't know you, but I just heard we got another Dr. Evans. And none of the rest of you look like Dr. Evans, so I figured it was him. We have this Dr. Evans, and we have a Dr. Evans that's our dean, obviously. I actually don't know if he's in the house. He'd probably be here if he was. He must be traveling or doing something important. But this Dr. Evans, just a real brief little story to introduce him. We had been encouraged in the state, they probably had argued or discussed or debated a second medical school for maybe 20 years, depends who you ask. And one discussion after another, a lot of infighting amongst the big universities. And so we had, as a board and a community in our last strategic planning, said, let's advance excellence in healthcare as Marian University. And then when we looked at the needs out there in the state, 2/3 of our counties do not have enough primary care physicians. The demographics, the way they're going in our country, we're going to be short of physicians by a lot. And everybody said, well, Indiana is a very large state, which is one medical school. It doesn't make sense. We started to learn more about osteopathic medicine and thought really that's the future. It's more holistic, it's more akin to our mission. And so one day at breakfast, I mentioned it to Dr. Mike Evans, who had already donated to Marian in some other ways. And he's not a real excitable person. He's passionate about what he does, but he thought that it was chair. He said, that's just what we need to do. I'd be real interested in helping with that. Of course, it's very expensive to start a medical school. By the time you do housing and work in the library and add science and all, it gets to be about a $150 million project. And Dr. Evans said that would be great. That would be something great for the state. I'd like to be involved. Made a magnanimous gift to the school and a commitment to do even more in the future. And so we, frankly, literally, absolutely would not be here today but for Dr. Mike Evans' generosity. And it's very rarely you get to introduce a speaker that was the antecedent and reason you're here, okay, other than the pizza. The pizza is a minor, this is major, because you could be in some other medical school. And so I introduce, when people introduce, say, I want to introduce a gentleman, that gentleman phrase kind of rolls off as a perfunctory thing. This is a gentle man. This is a smart man. This is a good man. This is a good man of stewardship. This is a good man who cares about health care. He's so very proud of you and what you're doing and the faculty. So it's my distinct pleasure to introduce you a true gentle man, Dr. Mike Evans.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, I'm glad to be here. Thank you. Sense of the audience I got for me. Dan, thank you very much for the introduction. Very kind. I didn't tell you some of the stories that he could have told you about me, but that's good. Better off. I'm here today. I'm going to talk about why I thought this school was a good idea, what's behind my motivation doing helping out here. You know, I didn't build the school. Dan, his team, Dr. Paul Evans, and other Evans. You know, there's 4 people I know in the city that are healthcare related, and last name is Evans. Myself, your dean, who's a very prominent healthcare physician, Dr. Evans right here in the audience. I met coming in, and then Dan Evans, who's the CEO of Clarion. So we get together once in a while and talk about the name of Evans. Not really, but Dan and I have had next meeting. But no, I remember I've been in academic medicine for my first half of my professional life. I got my PhD here at Indiana University School of Medicine. Great school. I got a great education. I went on to Vanderbilt because I wanted to go on an academic route. Did research at Vanderbilt and on the faculty down there. Went to Illinois School of Medicine. In '87, I came back to Indiana as chairman of the department. So I spent my entire professional life in those big academic institutions. And the School of Medicine, IU, at that time the largest school of medicine in the nation. And when I left there and started my own company in 1990, it was simply to build a good company. It wasn't anything, I wasn't looking at bottom line, trying to maximize profits. Basically, a place for people to go that could work and create a culture that was very good for the employees. It had to be successful. And the nice thing about business is that there's a clear mark of success or failure. Are you profitable or not? And if you're not profitable, you're not in business very long. But I got to know Dan a little bit. As the company grew, I knew about Marian. I actually used to come up here at Marian when Marian was an all-female college back then. That was a long time ago. When I was a student at St. Joe College, and come up here for the week, come down here for the weekends. But you know, I really respected the College of Marian and what they are offering to students here. So I got to know Dan a little bit more, and he asked me about the Osteopathic School of Medicine. What did I think of that? What did I know about them? And I said, well, Dan, I can tell you in the Army, they're both called SIRs, and they're both captains, MDs and DOs. I can tell you at Michigan, the DO school is right next to the MD school. And forgive me for using that colloquialism like that, but they're identical. There's no difference. I said there is a difference in how they're educated with regards to caring for people. And that's the difference that the DOs really are trained to care for people. The MDs are trained in the medical sciences. It doesn't make one worse than the other, better or else or like that. It basically is the foundation of how they're training and what their motivation for. I found a lot more DOs throughout my career, professional career, They're interested in really helping people. And we've got a lot of MDs who are still interested in the same thing, but they've got a high level of science, they want to do some research, and they want to get involved in the medical community as a physician, as an MD. So Dan asked me, he said, well, is there a difference? I said, not really. I mean, we're both trying to train people to treat people healthcare. And what's this state lacking, what's this nation lacking, is professionals to treat healthcare for people. Not the people downtown Indianapolis that can afford it, but the people out in the rural communities. So he asked me, would I be willing to support this? Well, certainly. It just so happened by that time I formed an ESOP and sold the company, so I'm able to donate a significant amount of money. People ask me, well, isn't that a lot of money? And I remember listening to, it's Michael Bloomberg, who is former mayor of New York City. He was in an interview. Michael Bloomberg is a billionaire, and he's made his fortune. He recently donated money to build a hospital in his mother's name in North Carolina. And the reporter was asking him, well, that's a lot of money you donated. He said, well, I can afford it. It's okay. She said, the reporter went on and said, well, do you have an estate plan or a trust plan? How are you going to handle your money? You got a lot of money to handle. What are you going to do with it? He said, yeah, I have a plan. And she asked, would you mind sharing that with me? His plan was that when he dies, the check to the undertaker bounces. In other words, it's gone. And I believe in that. You know, he said, I get more pleasure out of seeing the money I have going to great causes, to great use. And so, as opposed to buying things that I could have, mansions, that sort of. I want my money to be used, and I want to see it being used while I'm still alive. And I have that same philosophy. I don't really want to put a lot of money aside for anything. I want the money to be used well, and that's what I think when Dan first asked me to donate to this, I knew this would be used well. I am so amazed what's happening out here at the College of Medicine in terms of developing a place to train osteopathic physicians to go out and treat people, help people throughout the state. We need that very much. Many of you know Indiana is really ranked at the bottom of the pile with regards to healthcare in the state. Yeah, I go downtown Indianapolis and there's a lot of physicians there, but you start going out in the rural community, there's whole counties that don't have anybody. So we need these students like you. We need to start training more people in healthcare. And I'm very adamant about that, very passionate about that. Fortunately, I didn't do any of the work. Dan and his team did the work, and a great team here, but they helped build this place. This was an empty lot several years ago, and now you see what you have here now. So my life has been, how many of you have heard the speech by Steve Jobs, the commencement speech? Take it. Right. So if you get a chance, go online, it's on YouTube, gives a commencement speech to the Stanford School, the Stanford University at their graduation. Now Steve Jobs didn't get through college. He had a half a semester of college, about it. But he was asked to give the commencement speech. He talked about the fact that when you look back at your life and see how things happen, you realize how they're connected. When you go forward, you can't do that. But you can look back and connect the dots, and that was the title of the speech. But, you know, it's to connect the dots in his own life. And I don't want to get too much into that, but I've really been very fortunate during my life. But he said there's a common theme in that, how those dots connect. Passion about what your values are. Passion about what is your mission here in life. Passion about doing something for other people. Passion about creating something, bringing value to our society, to this culture, to our nation, to the individuals. That's what he's passionate about. And that connected the dots for him. In terms of where he was when he gave that commencement speech. He said, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I can't connect those dots. But I can tell you the things that happened in my past, how they connected. But the common theme was his passion for doing excellence and helping others and creating something of value. And that's, when you're young like that, it's pretty hard to do. When you look back, if you get older, like President Ellsworth and I have, you can look back a little bit more and see what happened. So I'm not here to talk so much about healthcare. I'm here to talk about you as individuals, talk about what's motivated me. I've been very fortunate in a lot of ways. But as I look back at the connections, I've had some wonderful professors to talk to me about there's 3 phases of life. Now, when I was your age, this didn't make sense to me. They said there's 3 phases in life, and he was a very smart man. He was very who was head of, he was very high up in Lilly, or PhD. He said there's three phases. One is you learn, you earn, and return. He said never forget that third step. That third step. You have no value if you just learn and earn. You're just consuming things in our society. It's that third step that makes a difference. Now, I was young, your age, it didn't make any sense to me because I didn't think about those things. But as I got older, I realized that he was really correct about that. You do learn. I spent time, I went to graduate school, I was a postdoc at Vanderbilt. I loved it. And Dan and I were joking about the fact that he was asked, does he work at Marian? And he had to think about it. We don't work. We enjoy what we do. It's not work. It's what we want to do. And I feel the same way about my own life in terms of what I've done in the past. But you earn. Now, some of you are going to earn some money, some of you are going to earn less, some more. It makes no difference. You ever see the U-Haul behind a hearse? You're never going to take it with you. You might as well, whatever amount you're going to earn, use it. Use it the best you can. Well, we dedicated, when we broke ground out here for this building, had the shovels and everything, after the ceremony, very hot that day, and after the ceremony, a man walked up to me. To this day, I don't know who it was. He said, I want to tell you a story about Lily, not Mrs. Lily, Ruth Lily. Said she gave some money to Marian to renovate the Lily Hall. It wasn't a lot of money. To her, it was pocket change. But she said, when she came back here to see what they had done with her money, her comment was, I want everybody to take as good care of my money as what Marian has done with my little donation to Marian to renovate this one hall. And I feel very strong about that. You donate your money, you give your earnings to things that will really grow and be of value. So you look at who can handle that, who can make the most out of it. I think Marian's done a wonderful job here in the School of Medicine, the Osteopathic School of Medicine. It's a great profession. I'm glad to see second-year students here. I'm glad to see first-year students here. I think it's towards a mission of healthcare and at the individual level. That's what we need here, healthcare at the individual level, which is where you're going in your own career. So, where's Jack? There you go. No, yeah. Can I take questions and answers or anything? Can I do anything I want? I didn't come here with a speech. Can I do anything I want? Well, yeah, you can. For 2 years, by the way, just to tell you a little bit about myself, for 2 years, I resisted putting my name being known for anything on here. I didn't want to know. But I understand the reason why. There's more money to be raised for this college of medicine. There's more money to be raised for this university. So you got to name the donors and that sort of stuff. But I particularly don't care for that. I don't care to be known as a person who gives money. I just don't do that. I mean, I give money where I think it really could be important impact on people. I give money where it can be helpful to people, where I know it's going to be used well. And that, to me, is the most important thing I can do. I'm unfortunate. I didn't plan on this type of life. Again, looking back, I had no plans. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I went to graduate school. I'll give you a little bit of my own history. My father was a Depression era, was raised in Depression, as a child of a single mother, and he was very smart. I have to give him that. And he earned money after high school by welding and surveying. There was enough money to go to college for one semester, and he saw Indiana Tech was advertising. This is a place in Fort Wayne. Advertising, you could get your engineering degree in 2.5 years. They didn't have a fine print that said, well, if you go day and night, 365 days a year, you can make it. He went to Indiana Tech, got his degree in engineering, and was having a successful life. Moved down to Jeffersonville, in the Albany area where I grew up during World War II, and then afterwards, he eventually became executive vice president of the corporation that he was working for. And so my dad was very much you get a job, you keep a job, you don't lose a job. He came to me when I graduated. I'm the oldest of 5. He came to me when I was a senior in high school and said, Mike, I'll pay you a way to go to school, but you have to go to Purdue and study engineering. I said, no, I don't want to do that. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wasn't going to do that. And so I said, no, I wasn't going to do that. And I kind of walked out, not totally, but I said, I'll find my own way. And I did. I worked construction, I worked in steel mills up in Gary. I worked road construction, I built buildings, I did all kinds of labor jobs, but you could make good money. At that time, and most of you all know this, the older ones do, you could actually earn enough money during the summer to pay your way through school. If you were frugal about it. You didn't have a lavish lifestyle, but you could earn enough money. So I wound up going to St. Joe College and in Rensselaer, Indiana, and I entered in mid-semester. So I was assigned for biology program, a very young teacher who was his first teaching job. He had a PhD. He went on to become University of Alaska, the president of the University of Alaska. But he got me inspired about biology and chemistry. And so I really liked it. I just said, I enjoy doing this. And it wasn't like homework for me. It's, going through labs and everything. So come my senior year, and again, I didn't have a clue what I was doing, where I was going. I had no plans. My senior year, one of the professors invited somebody from my school of medicine who had a brand new training program in toxicology. And he visited me at St. Joe College. I didn't arrange it, but one of my professors did. And he met this professor from my school of medicine. And he said, how would you like to study toxicology? And I said, I don't know what that means. And I sincerely mean that. I had no clue what he was talking about. He said, well, we have fellowships. We can pay your way to go to school. I knew what that meant. I said, that sounds like a good idea. I'd like to do that. And so I got things that occur on events and everything, but just random associations of him visiting me at St. Joe College, not having a clue what I was doing. He still offered me a fellowship. He said, fill out the application. By the way, I misspelled the word toxicology in the application. I sincerely did. I went back as the chairman of the department. I had access to graduate student files. I misspelled the word in the application. We didn't have word processors or spell checker back then. And anyway, I graduated. I thought, great, I'm going to go to IU School of Medicine and study toxicology, and it's all really good. I don't know what it's about, but it's at least not working for a job, not going to work in a real job. And I got drafted. I went to Vietnam. And the two most significant events happened with that event going on. One, I got drafted. First time in my life, I was put into an environment that was controlled, very much so. I was just kind of doing my own thing. I didn't look, but I also learned that I had leadership potential. The Army showed me that. The Army made me a leader, helped me become a leader. The other thing that happened, when I was in Vietnam, I got shot. And I got shot pretty bad. I was in the hospital for 8 months. And the first time in my life, I realized we're not here forever. You don't go around once here, and after that, it's gone. If you don't survive, however you can make it, you only go around once. There's no do-over. There's no second game on the ball court. You get one time, that's it. So you better make the most of it. And I've begun to appreciate that, my experience in Vietnam. The two most significant events that did happen to me was being drafted. I didn't have to go. I knew friends of mine that went to Canada. I knew friends of mine that got married, had children. And that was not an out for me at all at that time. I didn't want to get married, I didn't want to have children. But I said, okay, I'll take, this is what, I felt responsible. They were drafting me, I should go. Didn't want to go, didn't like the Army, didn't want to do it. But when I went in there, it showed me discipline, regiment, enforced upon me. For the first time, I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I had to do what I was being told to do, but also showed me I had leadership potential. So the Army kept on picking me out, making me the leader of the groups I was in. I didn't know I was a leader. I just, a kid from Southern Indiana, grew up playing basketball. Didn't think about that. The other thing was getting shot. That was a transformational event for me because for the first time in my life, I realized, there's no second chance. There's no do-overs. You better make the most of the time you have here in this earth, because the moment that ends, you can't come back and do it again. Do it better. So those two events really impacted my life tremendously as I went forward in my career, my professional career. And I came back to Indiana. By the way, those of you who go to graduate school or medical school, I never took GREs. I misspelled the word toxicology in the application. They still give me a full fellowship. I don't know why to this day they did that, but they did. Those are random events that do occur. And I feel like I've rewarded that program by my success in terms of academic success and my business success. It's been very important to me. And so I've gone, these things connected in the past, how randomly they had met each other. The professor at IU happened to be down there for a day visiting at St. Joe College, interviewed me. I don't know what he saw in me. I couldn't spell the word toxicology, let alone know what it meant. But they offered me a full fellowship. And I had a great time in graduate school, and I loved it. I realized this is what I really enjoyed doing. It wasn't work, so yeah. But there have been a lot of events that have occurred in my life in the past And I hope at some point you'll start looking back, because you do learn, you do earn, but you got to return. I had for my own company, I had a lectureship series, outside speakers, brought them in, about lecturing to our leadership group, and whatever they felt what they wanted to talk about. And one of the speakers was Mickey Maurer. Now, Mickey Maurer is the president of National Bank of Indianapolis. He's the owner of IBJ. A couple other things he's gotten in his honor. But Mickey came in, and I never told him what to talk about. He came in and he spoke about giving back. He just donated $35 million to the School of Law down in Bloomington. It's now the Maurer School of Law. To my leadership program, a class of about 40 students, 40 employees, he talked about the need and necessity of giving back. Because that resonated in his mind what leaders should be about, giving back. And you give back where you can and where you can help people. I think what you're doing here is tremendous in terms of College of Medicine. You will be giving back. You have a great opportunity. And if you really go out with passion to what you're doing and like what you're doing, the returns are just enormous in terms of what you find as you go down the road of life and begin to connect these dots that I have in my own life today. So I'm going to take questions. I never liked lecturing, even when I was a professor in the School of Medicine. I didn't like it. I preferred not to, but I always had topics to talk about. If you had any toxicology here at all, anybody had any bit of it? So you not had a carbon monoxide lecture, cyanide lectures, classic. Nope. Okay. I won't lecture about those things. I've learned. I've been an expert witness for several thousand cases throughout my life as an expert in courtroom. And the two reasons: one, I learned my science by doing it. I always tell young people, practice your profession. You can never practice enough. You can never give enough talks, give enough support people in terms of your own professional experiences and activities. Never ask about what's the return for me. Every job I've taken, every position I've held, I took the position before I knew whether they were going to pay me. Because I took the position because that's what I wanted to do, not because of how much money it would give me. Return on money, it didn't make a difference to me. I was asked to develop the course of OSHA, the National Training Institute for Toxicology, OSHA inspectors, going to factories. And they said, would you mind developing, and now I'm working at the Illinois School of Medicine, full faculty doing research. I was head of the toxicology program there. But OSHA came to me and said, would you develop this program for us, toxicology, for our OSHA inspectors? Most of these people are high school graduates working in factories that decided to go into the safety of the place. So I developed a program. I thought that'd be fun to do. It'd be different. It'd be challenging to me to develop a program for OSHA inspectors that they would be certified in. So I said, yeah, because it represented a challenge to practice my profession. I never thought about payment. They paid me. I never really cared about it. They didn't do it for money. But I can tell you that it's interesting that I've done a lot of consulting, and a number of cases I've been involved in consulting with toxicology, dealing with indoor toxicology issues, factory places. And you can know the best, and I do bill for my time when I do that. The first thing that comes up in my mind when I was talking to the jury about my credentials, about toxicology in the workplace, I developed and trained OSHA inspectors in toxicology. I wrote the program for OSHA. That gives the instant credibility. So the return on that, doing that, volunteering to do that for OSHA, it's been immense. And I enjoyed it, so it wasn't work. So I appreciate the opportunity of OSHA coming to me. Their training institute is in Chicago, nationwide. So I was able to train these people in terms of basics of toxicology, chemical exposure, that sort of thing. But the return didn't come till later, when all of a sudden I'm being asked to testify in a multi-million-dollar case as an expert. What's my credentials in this particular case? I developed and taught the OSHA toxicology program for OSHA. So those things do come around later on in life. Questions, anybody? I'm drying up here. So I don't talk about myself too much. But anybody got any questions? Anything you want to know about? What you want to know about the donation to school? You know that? Yeah.
As you think about the future, say 10 years from now, if you look at the medical school, it would like somewhere
It's okay.
As you look at the medical school, what would bring you the greatest satisfaction as you look back
he asked me what the greatest satisfaction would be if I could look back at 10 years from now, look backward and see what would be satisfactory to me. First of all, the school's still going. Let's start at the fundamentals. The school is still here in 10 years from now. The students are making an impact in our communities. I don't mean downtown Indianapolis or Carmel. I mean out in the communities. When I was at Indiana School of Medicine, I was chairman professor of School of Medicine and Toxicology. I was also served as state toxicologist. I traveled all these roads throughout the state, testifying to prosecutors in regards to drugs and drug cases, whether it's murder or drugs and driving, something like that. So I've traveled throughout this state, and I can tell you how rural the state is outside the major cities, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, Lafayette. To see the influence of the medical education here go out throughout this state and throughout this nation, but to see it throughout this state, how much it could help people in this state for good health care, basic fundamental health care. I'd love to see in 10 years from now, you people giving back to the school. I don't mean just giving back in terms of your time, money, donations, supporting the school going forward. It's very expensive to do a medical school, as Dan alluded to. And so I'd like to see students appreciating that and giving back to school when you have it. So there's 3 phases. You learn, you earn, and you return. And those 3 phases don't necessarily separate. I'm still learning. I enjoy learning. One of the best things I think about getting into sciences, healthcare, it never stops. I'm amazed at what's going on in the research area today. Things that when I was a graduate student and a young researcher, and I was cutting edge type of research, I wouldn't even dream about some things happening today in healthcare, in medicine, and biochemistry, physiology. Wouldn't even dream about what's going on today. So I think it's amazing. You can watch this go by. You can watch how research is advancing our knowledge of the human body, how research is advancing our knowledge about the biochemistry of the brain. It's amazing. So I really appreciate that. But I hope in 10 years from now, some of you are giving back. All of you are still learning. You never stop learning. But you're going to be earning, and you should start returning back. To me, that's important. How much you value, how much you can look back and value what your education has given you and where you are today. That's the reason I give back to my alma mater. But this particular school, this School of Medicine here, was a singular event. It wasn't a continual thing. This is starting from scratch. This ground right here was just flat. There was nothing here. And so with Dan's effort, Greg Ginder is his vice president of finance here, and Paul Evans, who's the dean here, tremendous team he's put together here. So that to me is what I want to see. I want to see you be successful in your whatever you call success. In my company, I talk about my job is to set the culture. I'm the keeper of the culture in the company. And 2, my mission is to make everybody, my employees, successful. But I do say to them, okay, I don't know what your success is going to be, but I want in your own mind you can be successful. Whether you go on for graduate school, whether you go on for this, I want AIT Lab Bioscience to be an opportunity to be successful for every employee here. So I think the school is giving you the opportunity to be successful wherever that's going to take you. I think it's wonderful how you're reaching out throughout, not only Indiana, but throughout the world with regards to your healthcare initiatives. So that's what I want to see. You know, whether this school's house, it's not going to be the largest school in the nation, but it's be the best, one of the best schools in the nation. I want quality, very much about that. So, growing success, just keep going. From there. Anybody else? You guys got it? Zach, help me out here.
When you start giving, that transition from, I'm a student, I'm studying for money, I don't have anything right now. At what point do you step over, little by little?
The question was, when do you start giving? At what point do you start giving? Like, I'm a very simple person. I get my suit at Joseph Banks 3-for-1 sale. I'm serious about this. My wife gets embarrassed about me, but I can think of this. I buy my underwear at Sam's Club because they get those big packs. Money is relevant. Money is relevant. So when did I start giving? I started giving back when I was a graduate student. I don't need to spend money. I think that happiness comes when you want more than what you can have, what you can afford. I don't care where you are in life, what station. If you're some of the saddest people, the unhappiest people are in New York City. They're making big bucks because they want more than what they're making. In this city alone, there's attorneys here that have to borrow money from the law firm to pay their taxes. I'm talking about senior partners. They make a lot of money. So I think that happiness comes about when you want more than what you can afford. And so you cut down to what you want to where you can afford it. But second, begin to realize that you can make a difference, even in small amounts, to people. And nobody's going to know about it except for you, but it's important to set your culture early in your life to start giving back. When I volunteered for a number of organizations when I was in graduate school, at Vanderbilt, I used to go down and lecture for free to the alcohol treatment center. The alcoholics will come in, dry off, and come back out. I'm a toxicologist. I know what alcohol is about. I know what it does to the liver and kidney and heart and everything. I tell you, every time I give them back, I've gotten a lot more in return than I ever gave to them. And that very essence of giving those free lectures, the Alcohol Treatment Center, somebody would come in and talk to them. This is a place that the alcoholics will come in and dry out for a couple weeks and go back out. You know, sometimes they get off the alcohol, a lot of times they wouldn't. But I volunteered to give little talks down there, at those once a month, to those individuals. I learned more from them than they ever learned. I can learn the practical, real life aspects of alcoholism, what it does to them. They knew it. I took a textbook to the lecture. I mean, that's all I knew about alcoholism, was when I learned the textbook. They knew it. So I got so much more back in return when I gave that instance. And that's not always going to happen, but it does happen quite a lot too. When you give yourself, give your money, it really does come back to you far more than what you're giving, and has a tremendous impact on your own life. I started giving early because, again, I just felt like, look, I got enough money. I don't need a lot of money, but I can use what money I have to earn, what I can donate to help other people. And the nice thing about it, I could choose who I want to donate to. I'm not waiting till I die in the grave. My estate plan tells to give so much money to somebody. I want to see my money being used, whether it's small or large. But I think you've got to build that culture in yourself over time. Certainly your own work as you get out as a physician, as you practice medicine throughout Indiana, throughout Indianapolis, wherever it may be in the world, on the missions, that sort of thing. I think you begin to develop that culture, giving back. And I will tell you, I will guarantee you, you'll get far more in return when you give than what you ever gave. You will get far more in return than what you ever gave to other people. It is remarkable how true that's been in my own life. So I think developing that culture, thinking about other people. What value are you in this life if you don't have an impact on other people, a positive impact? You're born, you grow up, you die. So what are you doing that leaves a lasting impression? That's what I think about in terms of doing things. I think about when I got shot in Vietnam. I don't want to die over there. I had a lot more I wanted to do, but I wanted to be productive. I wanted to be successful in my own eyes. I wanted to be of value to other people. That's what I wanted to do. I think your own careers, I think it's wonderful what you're doing right here in the School of Medicine here. I think you've got a great career opportunity in front of you, but keep these values in mind as you go forward. Those are very important values in my mind. Anybody else? Dr. Evans?
No, I'm trying to figure out what stage of life I am. Too nailed it.
I didn't. It's amazing. This same professor, wonderful man, he did a postdoc at Oak Ridge. He was known, he had a parking spot in every place. He worked at Lilly, and I happened to have him as one of my thesis advisors. He had a parking place. Every building at Lilly, he had a parking place. They all knew him. He was a character. And one of the things he taught me, never take yourself seriously, take your work seriously. Be professional about your work. Don't take yourself seriously. You're not that important. But your work is extremely important. And take that very seriously. He taught that to my graduate students. He taught that to me. I used to have him over his lecture, but man was wonderful. But he said, don't take yourself seriously. Take your work, your profession very seriously. That's what's serious about, not you. But he's the one that taught me to learn, earn, and return. He taught me those values. Again, it's random events in my life. I remember when I first understood about doing things right, doing it right the first time. 16 years old, I got my first job, so I'm now 16, I get a summer job. U.S. Steel Homes. They made frame homes. There was U.S. Steel at the time was making homes of now lumber. And they're putting together and then carted out, trucked out to where they're building homes. And I was just a laborer there for the summer, you know, it's no big deal. And I remember the foreman came over and said, Mike, I want you to stack that lumber over there. There's a bunch of lumber laying around. If you've ever been in a factory, you know it's kind of messy. So I just threw that lumber in the corner. Came back to me, Mike, that is not reflective of what you can do. I want you to stack that lumber up so the ends are flush, stacked up properly. I want you to do it that way. And I remember, I never forgot that. It's being professional in what you're doing. Whether you're stacking lumber or doing PhD research or treating people, you do it professionally, you do it the best you can. You never forget that. And that goes back, that's a long time ago for me. That's 50, 60 years old ago that I had that experience. It never left me. That he made that impression. He said, when you're supposed to do something, do it right the first time. Don't just throw lumber in the corner. Stack it up so the ends are flush, stacked up neatly. Because somebody else comes by there later, they'll see that stack, and it'll make an impact on them. And he's right. I really believe that. So, whatever you do going forward, you guys are good students. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't a good student, except when I enjoyed the courses, biology, chemistry. I have minors in philosophy and theology. I really enjoyed those courses. But I wasn't that great a student. But you're good students. You're doing well. I wish I'd taken more pride in my study back then. I didn't, but I made it through anyway. Anything else you want to know about me or anything else? I assume you're here because you like the school. I assume you're here because you think you're getting good education. I assume you're here because you think the faculty are really good. I'm impressed with faculty. I cannot believe the quality of faculty this school has. It really is tremendous. You think about the second year in existence, the quality of students, the quality of the faculty, quality educational program. I hear from outside this institution, from other professionals in healthcare, how impressive they are about this quality of this education here. You really are getting a unique opportunity in terms of medical education. I remember talking to Paul. We were interviewing him during the interview. I was in the interview committee for the dean, and Paul was one of them. And I remember talking to him, asking a question in the interview panel. Somebody asked him about his theory of education, medical education. In fact, I raised this question to him that, Paul, we've been learning off the Flexner report since 1910 about how you teach medicine. First year is basic science, didactic textbook, next 2 years go into clinics. Now, since 1910, we've learned a lot about healthcare, about medicine, about the body. We've kind of now know about DNA, we kind of know about all these other things we didn't have back in 1910. So how are you going to expand education in medicine, but not increase the number of years? It's exploding in terms of the healthcare, in terms of medicine. How are you going to do that? Well, this is the approach that he's using here, the case-based report approach. Next question to Paul Evans, I'm sorry, I've been saying Dan, get Evans was confused. Next question to Paul Evans was, okay, how many seats do you need in a classroom? Now he's gone from theory of teaching medical education, how many seats do you need? He knew that answer as well. We've got a tremendous team, but he's put together a tremendous faculty here. I'm very pleased to see what's coming out already in this school. So I hope I tell you that, not because I hope you appreciate it, I hope you appreciate it because of what you see in here. You don't have a chance to see other schools. I've seen other schools. This school is tremendous here, what they're doing. Doesn't mean other schools aren't doing good things, but this school is doing this really well. We got class in 10 minutes. I'll take one more. Yes, Dr. Evans. What's that?
I did learn this from the Army. No, the other doctor.
Oh, yes, he did. The other Dr. Evans, Paul Evans, who's dean here, is a retired military person. I don't know if you know that. I don't know how much you know about it. But, yeah. I did that.
But the other Dr. Evans here is retired military. So he learned about mission, about taking the hill. He learned that from his military experiences as a doctor. And I think it's served him well over the years in terms of how he's organized medical schools, how he organizes taking the hill. There's the hill, go take it, and that's what the military people think about. So I think he's done a tremendous job. My own life has been tremendous because of my military experience, limited as it was, because of learning discipline at an early age. Anything else, you guys? I don't know what, I hope I give you something in my own life of some value that you can reflect upon. I really do think the important things in life, learn, earn, and return, they're not separate events, they're together. In the beginning, you do a lot of learning, you do some earning, you do some returning, but as your life goes on, it does begin to shift. And you want to wind up returning back far more than you ever learned or earned in this life. You want to give back. You want to make this world better when you leave it than when you entered it. And you want to have an impact on this life. I really think that's important. And that's what being shot in Vietnam taught me. I didn't want to just suddenly die someday in Vietnam. I wanted to have some impact in our society and in this world, to have some lasting effect beyond my own life. To me, that was important. I didn't grow up like this. I just kind of came by accident. But I growing up, I'll tell you what I was like growing up. I did two things as a boy in Southern Indiana. If you're from Southern Indiana, you will appreciate this. If you're not, I hope you appreciate it. Did two things when I was growing up. Had no ambition, had no thoughts beyond tomorrow. I chased girls and I played basketball. I was better at playing basketball and I couldn't make the JV team than I was chasing girls. So shows you how good I was at anything doing. But I did follow. I was fortunate, a lot of connections in life led me to where I am today. And you can look back and see those things as you get older. But I was not somebody that had an ambition, had a plan. I had a plan what I'm going to do tomorrow. And I still don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, but I do know I'm going to stick with passion, stick with what I enjoy doing, and stick with what I think can be of value to people. I appreciate your time here, and I know you got class at 1 o'clock when we get you out of here. So I appreciate your time. Be glad to talk to you later if you want to. That's up to you. Thank you.